Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Batty Overwatch League Season 5, Week 5 pregame show with me, one of your hosts, Albinojoe. And along with me today is Cal and 30. Cal, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, doing good.
Great to hear. And 30, how are you doing?
Equally as good.
I just want to say something. 30, it's kind of funny that your old name used to be 30 Cal, because now I'm going to refer to the two of you as 30 and Cal, or just 30 Cal. It's like you're a cohesive unit now.
Oh
We are
shit!
one.
I never noticed that. That's good.
I love it. Well, hey, for the topics that we're going to be talking about today, something that we don't really talk a lot about. I mean, Checker's got her time to shine as a support player in this meta here, and Dano's a good, and we have our all stars and everything like that. But as a whole, this healing meta that the Batty Overwatch League is showing is, I don't know. I guess it kind of reflects pro play a little bit. I don't know. I guess 30 would be able to speak more to that, but that's one of the big topics that we're going to hit on. And 30, I'll let you lead in with some comments.
Yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, we haven't seen a ton of pro play outside of like World Cup this time of year. But the healing meta in general across all levels of play, from what I've seen and played, is you can pick all the supports. They're all perfectly fine and viable, all in their certain scenarios. Everyone seems to agree that Anna definitely the top main healer. She's just too good right now. She's really flexible. She can really play in dive comps or sort of slower brawly type comps, and even the new anti goats comp, which is just swapping Moira for Anna. She's used there obviously because of the utility in anti nade. So as far as like the strongest goes, it's definitely her. Everything else though is really just you picking what you want to complement with your main healer, whether that's a Moira or an Anna. Um, Arguably, I think the weakest support healer right now is probably Mercy. She's still obviously really good in pharmacy comps. She's good with double sniper comps because you can damage boost and then have reses in case your snipers go down in that sniper battle. But outside of that, the healing per second is just really not enough to keep up a lot of the tanky compositions that we were seeing in recently.
Yeah, especially with those healing nerfs, Mercy's just seeing a lot less play in the high value. Right now, I think in the BOL, a lot of people are still playing her just from comfort, and she still has good mobility. And obviously the res being ever so important, but it's definitely a little bit weird not seeing Mercy being the must have in every single game.
Well, and that res still has its place in team fights. If you're defending, you never want to be 5 or 6. So it's sometimes really nice to have that res play. But yeah, she's not that main healer slot anymore. She's kind of the controversial pick for the most part when you are on a team. But yeah, players like Anna or characters like Anna are being played often. Some of the better teams that we're seeing are kind of running her a lot, and then Brigitte as well. Although that she doesn't kind of pose as a main healer with the amount of HPS that she puts out, she does enough to do everything else that is needed from a support player or even a tank or DPS really.
Yeah, I like to call her the tank support assassin character of Overwatch because she just really does it all. The only thing she really can't handle is long range, but just whenever you're stuck with that Ryan Zarya comp, and it's almost necessary to have the Brigade of is if the other team does, your Reinhardt's just gonna not have a good time, and
Yeah.
she's just so good. And when you're coordinating, especially, you can definitely see the value of having her. And the worst thing I've ever seen is nano boosted while she's ulting. You just can't kill her unless you're like a Widowmaker who's on point. It's so
Oof.
difficult.
Yeah, dude, the Nano Brigitte is a scary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
luckily I don't play the front line, so I'm usually a million miles away. But yeah,
yeah.
that's scary shit.
Yeah. She can pretty much fight anyone she wants. Even without the nano, I think her ulti is just really strong to keep her alive. She can be 1v2ing people. And it generally works out. Definitely on my list, one of the scariest healers.
Well, and even DPS, you said she wins the 1v2. She wins 1v1s pretty consistently depending on who she's against. I mean, that stun is just so big.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like other healers too. We haven't really touched on Lucio too much, but his role in control points or dive comps, he's more situational for sure, but he is very important in those situations.
Yeah, Lucio. I guess if we go back to like the Mercy Zen days where Zen, was sort of the de facto flex support. Not only did he have, good healing per second, obviously with like the orb for your dive targets, so your dive tanks can go in, but Transcendence was just so needed, especially in that like grav combo meta that we were in with the Dragon Strike. So you needed that Transcendence to counter that kind of combo. Since the recent support buffs, Lucio's sound barrier got better, right? So now it's actually kind of in place of a Transcendence, so he is slotted into that same role where he can counter big ultimate combos. But at the same time, the speed is just like absolutely crucial for any kind of tanky composition. It's even just like a Ryan Zarya core comp with the 2-2-2, you still like to see your frontline speed in and like push the space aggressively. And I'm not sure if I've seen super good Lucio play from the BOL, like really top tier crazy stuff. But there's a couple. I felt the Mighty Wolves Lucio last week got booped a couple times into the water, so hats off to him. Uh, but yeah, I would love to see tons of Lucio. I love playing Lucio as well. It's super fun support.
Personally, I'm not too big of a fan of playing it, but I can definitely see when the speed and like the speeding on the walls looks really fun if you know what you're doing. I can't say I do, but he's definitely in a stronger spot. I don't remember when he stopped becoming meta exactly, but he got so many nerfs in the past just because of how strong he is ever since season 1 really. So
Yeah. People were always like, I mean, I even said this back in the day, like season 3 and 4 is like Lucio will be a must pick for the entire duration of Overwatch until they add another hero that gives speed boost. And
yeah.
obviously that wasn't true, but he still, that speed boost is still very unique to him. And yeah, I think it's super fun to play
Yeah.
with and play against.
And since the addition of Brigitte, he works really well alongside her too, and it's all becoming meatball fests. This is
Yeah.
really scary for other DPS.
Goats
Yeah.
all damn day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess Zen's the last person that we didn't really talk about in depth or anything like that. Any lasting comments on him?
I mean, he's still good. Obviously, like we'll still see pros play him forever, pretty much until like he doesn't become a third DPS. If you're really good, looking at the J. Jonex and Ryu J. Hungs of the world. But I mean, as far as like BOL meta goes, we don't see a ton of him because he is just sort of that higher skill ceiling support, right? You run a risk when you run such a squishy, low mobility support. And now that we're starting to see players pick up Doomfist and a lot of Pharah play, makes it kind of tough to survive as Zen.
Makes sense to me. Well, enough about the baddie healing meta, which, is still just totally up in the air. Play whatever you want, it seems like. Busen, this new map came out. Everyone may or may not have heard of it or may not have played on it. I believe it came out in comp within the last week or two. Am I right?
Yep, I think just last week it entered comp, but it's been on live servers and quick play for a little, or at least arcade for a little bit.
Yeah. Only comp exists in my world, so I don't know what this quick play BS is. Busen, what do you
Busan!
guys think?
Busan. It's a place.
Busan.
It's
Busen. Okay, so Busen. Each of the maps. Each of the 3 maps. So what? We have the one with the little drum in the middle. What's that one called?
Dude, I don't know the names of them, but we were talking a little bit before we went live here. The drum map can go fuck itself. I don't appreciate it. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, there's 2 types of people in this world. There's hit skin players like 30 who hate this map, and then there's projectile players like me who love this map. It really is like that. There's okay, so the very top of the map is actually very short, so it doesn't have a high ceiling, which makes it a little bit awkward for Pharah players. But I still love it because of just how many random lines of sight you can use on people and just like duck around and peek around. They won't see you. And for people like McCree, for people like Soldier, Widow, it's just nightmares. Never-ending nightmares. And all around it's just kind of clustery. People don't really know what they're doing. It's a good time. I think there's a lot of Hammond play, interestingly enough, on that map.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen a couple comp games that I've played. I've seen Hammond played pretty much all the time. on it
Yeah.
on all the stages, maybe except the one that I would like to talk about next is the one where the walls move up and down, where we
Yeah.
have
Oh,
actual
the
map
very big.
geometry that goes away and comes back. I believe it's a 10-second timer if I remember reading that correctly.
Just to step in and be clear, so we were talking about Sanctuary before. That's the name of the map with the drum in the middle and big
Nice.
open skies, big open gates, little bit of corners and stuff to hide around. And 30, the one that you want to talk about now, is called Mecha Base, where
Yeah, that makes
it's
sense.
just very industrial. And yeah, the point is surrounded by these like 3 shortish walls that go up and down in some sort of a pattern. I don't know, but yeah, that's unique, and I like that a lot actually as well.
I personally also love how unique the map feels. There's 2 different parts of high ground that you can be at. I mean, you can really, realistically, as Widow, you could go anywhere just to set up. There's like a little spot from your spawn, with a peek up part. I don't know how exactly to describe it other than a little square in the wall. That I've seen a couple Widowmakers sit, and it's just pretty unique. I don't know how the best way to play around it is. I've seen a decent amount of Doomfist in it, and it seems to destroy people. But I could see Hammond not really working out. I think Dive would be the best.
Yeah.
It's most suited towards Dive.
Yeah, yeah, I guess the general feel that I got from a lot of the 3 stages was that they're very wide. They're not very long. Like the spawns to the point are very very short. It's just the map runs lengthwise or like wide-wise from left to right
Yeah.
really far. So it seems like the fights you can almost have like 2 or 3 different types of fights going on. At least that's what my comp game sort of descended into, was just like brawling, just like running back to the point and fighting. But it's kind of unique. A lot of the control points you don't see it so wide open.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool.
It does leave a lot of room for flankers, especially to
Yeah.
want to get behind. But I think I'm curious to I'm always curious how the pro players are going to play it, because they normally stick together a little bit more. Besides a couple flankers like Samba or Tracer or stuff. But yeah, with how wide it is, there's definitely a lot more chance to brawl, and we'll see that week 10. I'm sure we're just going to be seeing fights going everywhere. It'll be fun.
And to a point was made about dive on the maps in general and how it's more wide than it is long. Aside from, I want to say Sanctuary, there's a very defined high ground, and like it's very advantageous to get. You can kind of just pot shot people down on the point, both in downtown as well as the mecha base, with how the points are set up. Like you have to be able to be upward mobile in order to kind of defend yourself on the point, unless you're able to use some of those walls that are on mecha base or some of the corners that are in downtown. Yeah, it is wide open for however you want to play it, to be honest, in my opinion. But yeah. So, any more comments on the new map that you guys would like to share?
I'm just excited. There's more higher chance that I'll get control maps
Same.
when I queue. So
Yeah, buddy.
I love it. Honestly, that map could be total shit, but I'd still like control more than other games.
More than 2 CP. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sweet deal. Well, hey, on to our next topic. This is kind of a strange category that we've came up with just now. The most underrated player. Just a person who's on a team who's doing their job, doing it well, but doesn't receive that much recognition for doing it. So those are kind of your consistent players, your players that are able to hold down the fort, tanks that are able to, hold the line without much problem. They're not in the kill feeds or anything like that, but they're just, showing up and playing good old Overwatch. And yeah, I guess 30. We'll start with you. What kind of what name do you want to toss out when you think of this kind of a person?
Well, I'll just take one from Cal's list here, and we both agree that Crystallize is the player that first. I mean, we both looked at the whole list, and Crystallize was the first name that jumped out to both of us. So he's got to be doing something right, at least in our minds. Yeah, he's been playing mostly Zarya, I think, mostly off tank.
Yeah, sorry,
For this team, Mad Cow is the one he plays on. So he has that incredible job of playing against D3, destructive dude, or playing with. I don't know if I said against, but Yeah, so it must be pretty crazy to try to maybe bubble jumping in Winston or having to peel for your backline. But I mean, he's doing something right with his team. His team's doing incredibly well, and obviously an off tank, if they're not performing, you're gonna see that in the records.
And just from playing against him last week, it was crazy how many times he just had both bubbles up, and I just didn't expect it. I figured he would have had cooldown, but he's really patient with it and really smart with his Zarya bubbles. And I think he obviously isn't just hard carrying his team, but he's definitely doing his job really well. And I would say very underrated compared to a couple other off tanks. And someone else I was also thinking about would be Cruise Master, who we haven't seen every single week, but him and Cuban P have kind of been swapping between, but he's been probably the most surprising main tank for me with his Reinhardt play. I think he's been getting these crazy good shatters, and I don't remember last season him even playing Reinhardt.
He did. I mean, but
He did?
we all
Okay.
yeah, like, he played a lot of a reason. I mean, he played a lot of different stuff, but it looks like this season he's really sticking on that Reinhardt. And yeah, I totally agree. His play has improved tenfold. He's playing at just the next level up of Reinhardt play.
Do you think that's a lot because he has someone like Josh Danko playing Zarya beside him?
That's certainly a good observation. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Ryan and Zarya's they go together like peanut butter and jelly. So.
I had a interesting conversation with someone the other day about whether it's better to have an aggressive Zarya and a defensive Reinhardt, or an aggressive Reinhardt and a defensive Zarya. I'm still not exactly sure what's the best, or if it's just better to have them both being aggressive. But
Well, I've had discussion with my off tank player Chromatic on the Zarya, and I think a greedy Zarya player will always want an aggressive Reinhardt. It's not about them living; it's about getting charged.
yeah,
Just literally press shift, and I'll put a bubble on you, and I'll get that easy 40 charge, and you can go die. It's whatever. Zarya they just want that charge. So. But
for sure.
as you said, he plays a more defensive Zarya because he's holding those bubbles for peel, or he's holding it for certain opportunities. He's not like a sort of a general Zarya where they're trying to basically use them off cooldown to get all that charge and then do the work themselves. He's there as a supporting member.
Yeah, and I think it really works out for them because Destructive Dude is really an aggressive player as we've seen him, and he's just able to do pretty much whatever he wants. So the bubbles are there on really good times, and it's worked out for this team.
Sounds good. Any other names that you guys think of with this category?
Oh yeah. What about you? You
Man,
got a name there.
Your boy Dub Drum, man.
Well, I shouldn't speak about Dub Jump. What do you think about Dub Jump?
Oh, it's your boy, dude. You could speak
Yeah,
about him as much
you
as
have to
want
hype up your own teammate.
Dubdrum is super good. He's an incredible hard worker. I feel like we talked about him recently. It's some BOL function, but
I think we did.
yeah, but he's super good, and I think he is underrated in the sense that maybe people didn't expect a lot out of him because he signed up as like what, bronze or silver or something. I mean, he didn't really play the game seriously, or at least not on a good computer with like manageable FPS, and now he has that, and we've seen that he's worked incredibly hard and he practices a lot, and his Brigitte is very aggressive and good. So
Yeah, this guy's signed up as a level 71 player. Like,
yeah, so
He also went for $0 as well. We were talking about him for most improved player, so he's getting everything it seems this season.
Oh, true. Yeah, he is improved and underrated.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean that Brigitte, man, it's scary to see that in your face, especially when they're aggro and they don't even care, and you have a team to back them up. Because 30 with the mastermind behind them, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh God. All right. And anyway, so moving on to this interview here. So we are interviewing FreeFee from All Dabs, No Blab, the team that is in third place currently with an 8-point score, I believe. 2 draws and 7 wins, 6 losses.
User was moved to your channel.
None other than FreeFee. Hey, FreeFee, how you doing?
What's going on, friends?
Hey,
Oh,
Not a whole lot. 30. I'm gonna give you the first question.
cool.
Let it loose.
So, we just thought of these questions minutes ago.
Awesome.
How
don't
has
leak it. Don't leak it.
Lol.
didn't Zed reveal our secrets last week, or maybe not? I don't know. But how has the season been going so far with all dabs, no blabs? How's team synergy doing? Was shot calling ever an issue? Like deciding who sort of the definitive shot caller? Do you guys pre-plan a lot of strategies, or do you guys do it on the fly? Just generally, how are things going?
Well, I'm going to take a quote out of my boy Thor's book here, who drafted us all. And he basically sat down with the idea of, I'm going to draft the chillest group of dudes possible. And I really think that he did that very well. Like, we don't have a lot of pressure on us because we're just so chill. And like the way we play, the way that we talk to each other, we're all very friendly. Like, I don't know, you guys were saying that last year, seeing that we were the only team calling everyone on our team by first names, everyone else used in-game names. Like, we still do that on this team. Very peaceful environment to play on our team.
That coming from a Junkrat player, I've never talked to you before, so I've never heard your voice. And I can't imagine that voice playing that Junkrat that's been killing everyone. I'll be honest.
A character focused around destruction and mayhem.
Yep.
The chillest and the illest.
Got to find peace in everything.
Nice. Well, FreeFee, you're the first to be in here from all dabs, no blabs, as far as I understand or can remember. So having, I think everyone else has had someone in here for the most part. Being the first person to be interviewed from the team, do you think you guys have playmakers on the team or anything special, or do you guys just focus on good old Overwatch, stick to fundamentals, there's no crazy play or anything like that on your team? Like, kind of what's the style, do you think?
Well, similarly to Season 4, champions as we were, most of us actually.
Heyo.
We have this really secret strategy, which I don't know if I should spoil it, but it's something like keep Senpai alive, and then we just win after that. It's so weird. But no, it's really not one huge playmaker. It's everyone seemingly takes turns just destroying the other team. It's really weird. Like, there'll be sometimes when I heard 30 say earlier of how Mighty Wolf was getting some boops on him and he wasn't really feeling it very well. Like, it can be little things like that that just add up, and everyone contributes to the team, and there's not one big ninja apples on our team, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
That's a great answer.
Spreading the wealth, that's a good thing. Well, I guess one last question for the brief interview that we're having with you here. We're halfway through the season. We're going into the the first matches of the second half of the whole entire season. You're in third place by half a point. You're ahead of 3 Dans, 1 Cup by that half point, and you're behind Bench and Mad Cow Disease. Do you expect to kind of hover around that third place spot, or realistically, where do you see your team kind of finishing it out for the season?
I mean, it'd be super arrogant to say first place, but at the same time, I know most of the players on Mad Cow Disease, and I'd like to think that we are just slightly, on or above their level, but they've got that point advantage on us that I don't think that we're actually going to be able to take it from them unless we 3-0 them the next time we face them, which fingers crossed we do. But I want to say third, second place is very reasonable for us. We had a rough start. Took us 2 weeks to really realize how to win as a team. We've since grown on our strategies, and I've been able to play healer, which it's a secret joke that I love to play healer, even though I get put on DPS every season.
Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I checked your profile the other day, and yeah, that's all you do in comp is you play supports.
I love playing support.
What? See, I didn't know this until last week when I checked your profile. That's insane. You play DPS like a DPS player would. I can maybe kind of tell when DPS players feel uncomfortable, and you don't in that role. So that's very impressive.
Well, I just, like a lot of the people in the league, I have a background in MOBAs. My MOBA wasn't League of Legends like y'all. Mine was Smite. But
Ooh.
it transfers over very well for me, and positioning is just there for me. And I like to be able to play my support heroes like DPSs, which is why I think I'm probably the best Brigitte in the league, just because I play Brigitte like DPS, which is what she's made to do.
Nice. Yeah, they
Best
made the
Brig in the
character.
league.
It is confirmed.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, buddy. Hopefully we see more of that healing out of you for the rest of the season. But I think that concludes all of our time here for the pregame show, and I think bad plays are coming up next. So if everyone who's watching right now wants to watch some bad plays, don't switch that browser. Stay tuned.
And the play of the game coming in from Spagooter. What did he do? He just
This is the Earth Shatter at the very end. Right
doesn't
into
even
one
need
of
to
them.
aim. Just press Q, swing away, and you feel good about yourself.
Pull through. And 30 on the Widowmaker, gonna get the play of the game, gonna be shooting heads and in people's faces.
See how many picks he's actually getting. D-Mex. And takes out both supports right away. That is so huge.
Oh.
And also Senpai who dropped down. Ruins. But let's look at what Senpai was doing here though. Look at that.
This is his first point pick.
And no one knew where he was. Bam, bang, bang, boom. America, USA. Fan the Hammer in 2018.
Certainly turned into that way. And here we go. Kazuki beans on the Mercy. What do we got here? It's the crazy res! Oh my god, this is the most insane res. Kids, don't ever try that at home. Don't ever do that in my comp game. What the hell? That's the play. That literally just that single res. We'll still see a third map here. Evil Light on the McCree, of course. No one else.
Oh yeah.
The Mad Lad himself.
Yeah.
Let's see what this is all about.
It's
This
just some patience. Wait for that.
Oh, Salvo, he got the shots and the Helix rocket. Destructive
And
dude on
you
this
know what
Reinhardt.
play this is. The hard read.
The hard frickin' read. Look at this. This is the easiest shatter of his entire life. Paired with an anti-nade mad cow disease is quite a threat. Watch out for these guys.
One of these Heron.
Heron
The only
again.
question is which one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look at Josh is so far. And these two, they have the synergy, they have the trust. They just pop the ult onto the bridge. Wummy maybe never saw it coming.
Play of the game.
Sad.
Cruisy, cruisy, cruise. What you got, boy?
Double
Same.
That was so good.
play of the game.
Ooh, it's the Danko. What did he do?
Flopped off of Roadhog when he had the ult available. But he also did some Diva left clicking. That's cool too.
Solid plays right there. Bye.
What was
It was Scotch finding no one.
Here it is, Torbjorn, melee duo.
Whoa.
Clutches it out. That is not my commissioner.